All right, welcome back live at Drew's house, another edition. One more show here to end the week. Hope everybody's doing all right. No Sarah today. She's all busy with teaching and all that craziness. So we're going to move right along and get right to the guest. Erin Madore is joining us. Erin actually we went to college together back in the day. Feels like an eternity now. Erin, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Thanks so much for having me on your show.
Thanks for coming on. This is, well, obviously, I'll just let you tell the people what's going on with you, because you own a fitness studio, and it has been tough, obviously, like so many of these places have been, and you're having to make some changes. So why don't you tell everybody where we're at?
So long story short, I opened Savin Hill Fitness Studio in July, a year and a half ago. So 2019, and it actually took a really long time to get that open because of the whole National Grid debacle. So I faced a lot of uphill challenges just getting open, and then had to close in March due to the stay-at-home orders. And we were only open for 8 months, and we were closed from mid-March through early July. We reopened actually a year after we originally opened, which seemed good and fortuitous, but then we did everything we could. We actually have an incredible community. I have to say, everyone that's a member and comes to the studio is not just supportive, but they're safe and conscientious. And we had a really good sense of community and connection. And then unfortunately, with everything going on and people feeling as though, you know, there's a chance they can get sick by going to the studio, which is just bonkers and totally opposite of what happens when you go to the studio and you actually feel better and you get stronger. And instead, I get honestly really emotional talking about this because we poured our heart and soul into it. I've been working around the clock forever, it seems, and it didn't matter with everything going on with COVID, the pandemic, with people losing hope and trust, even though the data doesn't show that they should. It's not our fault. It's not where people are contracting COVID. We needed 100 new members, which seemed easy as of November. And instead, we got a lot of support, but not enough. And we had to pull the plug. We are deep in the hole. I was just telling another fitness studio owner of Mission Hill Yoga, Cassandra, who's wonderful, that we're not only in a sinking ship, the ship has sunk. We were just clinging on to a tiny bit of oxygen that was left, and unfortunately there's none left. And rather than staying at the bottom of the ocean and drowning with our dreams and Savin Hill, we are closing the studio that's big and beautiful and had been extremely successful pre-COVID, and we're opening a smaller studio. So even though that seemed like a long story, that was actually as short as I could make it without crying.
I understand. So we'll talk about the optimistic part in a second. I do want to, the cool part about moving to another chapter. What it seems like when you didn't get to the 100, you kind of knew where you were going, but was the governor's kind of rolled back the other day? I was kind of following you on Facebook, and it seemed like that was kind of maybe the nail in the coffin, or maybe just insult to injury. I don't know. Did you know you were in trouble before that, or was that really?
It was definitely salt in the wound at that point. My frustration, and I do have to say, I think Massachusetts and Boston in general are doing a good job. I think they could do a better job, obviously. I think one of the biggest issues is there's no connection between fitness studios and the governor or their team at all. And we're different. We're not Boston Sports Club. We're not Planet Fitness. Savin Hill Fitness Studio is a boutique fitness studio. We have a very different business model that's much safer. And our next venture, Connecting Through Strength, which is going to be also in Savin Hill, similar. It's not a big gym. We don't have treadmills or anything like that. It's fitness classes. It's personal training. It's small and safe and clean, and I just, every single time the governor comes on and makes these restrictions, it feels like they just don't care. And that in a year, every small business in Massachusetts is going to be closed. And I don't think, I honestly, truthfully do not believe people realize how that is going to negatively impact their lives, their neighborhoods, their communities. Do they just want to see Amazon, Starbucks, and Planet Fitnesses on every corner? Like, I don't get that.
And so it's clear that you're not the first person I've talked to either. I've had some other, not necessarily, the boutique fitness, but I've had some other variations of what have been thrown under the gym category. And it does seem like that is maybe a problem, not putting too many things into that bigger category of gyms, or I'm sure there's other spots too, but in your case, that's the one that's hurting you.
Exactly. And we're not a gym. We're not a health club. It's totally different. We're not looking at having hundreds of people come through the door every single day, touching and using all different equipment and meandering and wandering around. We do specific small classes, socially distanced, 14 feet apart. And we sanitize everything multiple times. There's 30 minutes in between every class to air out the space. We follow every guideline, and it just feels like we're trying our best and there's no support system except from our communities. Like, our members, our students, our friends, and our family are wonderful, but the governor does not seem to care about places like Savin Hill Fitness Studio.
I'm sure you saw a lot of people in many ways. You saw the best of a lot of people. I'm sure people that have been maybe not long time, but, devoted clients of yours and stuff. And did you feel that community support as far as like trying to go the extra mile for you and wanting to pull you through?
Yeah, it was actually great when we announced that we were having trouble, which was really hard to do, honestly. I mean, you've known me for a long time, even if we've lost touch, and I'm not the type to like to ask for help, and I'm a very positive, focused person. So to admit that things are hard or that I need help is devastating to my heart. Which is why sometimes these interviews are really hard for me. I do apologize. I get a little misty. But we actually started doing founding membership sales for Savin Hill Fitness Studio 2 years ago in November. And we had people buying memberships 7 months before we opened. And those same people are actually donating to our current GoFundMe, which is for Connecting Through Strength, our new fitness studio that I'm opening with Kenny Long, my life and love and business partner, and Stephanie Mora as one of our trainers. And the three of us are going into this new space with fresh perspective after learning through all of these challenges with the support of the community. And the great thing is we've actually been emailing every single member, which we have about 68 of them that are in person. And I don't know one that has actually said they won't come to the new space. So that's been huge. And they've not only been buying memberships, but they've also been, donating and sharing our fundraiser through GoFundMe with their friends and their family members. And it's been incredible.
So I know you weren't looking for a restart at this point in Savin Hill, but it is kind of something rejuvenating about getting that, kind of turning the page and starting something new. There is something kind of exciting and that gets the adrenaline going, right?
Yeah. And actually, can I tell you something kind of funny? The gentlemen that are renting this space, which is very serendipitous, it just happened that their previous tenants were no longer in need of this. It's about 700-800 square foot space. It's literally across the street from my current studio on the first floor, which is great. We're currently on the third floor. And I had actually connected with them over 3 years ago about renting a different space for Savin Hill Fitness Studio. So it's funny that it just came full circle. And they actually told me when we first talked a few weeks ago, and they said to me that they had always kicked themselves for letting me get away and for having me across the street versus with them. And now we're with them, and they've been wonderful. They're super supportive. They own McKenna's and Savin Bar and Kitchen, and they're just, James and Ken are wonderful.
Oh, very cool. Again, we're joined here by Erin Madore, saying goodbye to her Savin Hill Fitness Studio in the pandemic, but moving on to new adventures here. Like you said, we've lost touch a bit over the years, but how in the world did you get into this? I didn't, you try to predict what people are going to do later in life, and that's not always the easiest thing to do. But how did this happen?
So I actually left Bryant and went into HR at Liberty Mutual for about 6.5, 7 years and hated every single day. I thought HR was all about helping people and connecting, and I realized it's all about paperwork. And I would cry at my desk and found yoga right down the street from me and started going to yoga every day to help deal with stress and anxiety. And I was having panic attacks, and I said, after I think a week of my classes, I asked the teacher, I said, how do I become a yoga teacher? And that was about 7.5 years ago. And I just had my 7th year anniversary being a yoga teacher. And I left Liberty Mutual and I never looked back. And I created a full-time, really, in my opinion, even with a failing business, successful career doing what makes me happy and what makes and helps other people be happy and healthy. And that's fitness, that's health and wellness.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because the word failing business just kind of it strikes a chord in this environment because there's so many businesses that are struggling. It's almost impossible to, exist in this kind of environment. And I wonder, this is probably the tough question. I know you know how to handle it these days, but like when you put your heart and soul into these things, and I know you don't just open up one day. It takes however many years or months of work to get these things going. And that I think is what struck me so much about your story. I follow you on Facebook a little bit. You were just like so devoted to your people that come in and your place, and you were always, in communication. And I mean, I'm just seeing that from a distance, never mind actually really being involved in it. What is it? I can tell you tried to hold on as long as you could. What is it like, that whole trying to hold on period? Because I think so many people can relate to that right now, whether you're a restaurant, whether you're whatever, so many people can relate to that being a business owner right now.
Good question. Honestly, it's really hard in the sense that you feel fake. You feel disingenuous. You feel like the whole world is riding on your shoulders. And I say that because I tell all of my teachers that when they're teaching, they are holding space for their students. If you're training, you're holding space for your client. And it's not your time. It's not your class. It's not your session. So for me, I spend all my time practically at the fitness studio, and I just always had a smile on my face. I was always focused on making it work and leaving, the problems in the back so that none of the members knew. I wanted Savin Hill Fitness Studio to be a tranquil place for safety, for support, for happiness and joy. And I didn't want that burdened by my struggles and my fears. And I think in some ways, I wish I had been a little bit more upfront in the beginning. But I never predicted this. I thought we would make it through. There wasn't a day until very recently that I thought I would be having these conversations and saying the words that Savin Hill Fitness Studio is closing. I just thought grit and love and passion and support could make it through, but that does not equate to dollar signs, unfortunately, or restrictions. And it was really hard lying all the time and pretending to be okay when inside I just constantly felt like I was getting kicked in the stomach and about to cry. And I also hate crying. So I have to say, even though it's been really hard sharing all of this, I've actually felt emotionally a lot better because it's out there. I'm not hiding. I'm not alone. I'm not trying to take it all on myself. And the support that's come from that, and also the connection, I think that's what you were getting at, has been outstanding. Like, I'm not the only one. People that have lost their jobs are reaching out to me and saying that while they don't own a business, they're trying to keep a positive outlook for their kids. And I have people saying that, they're just trying to help their business stay afloat, even if they're not the owners. We're all in this together. And I feel that more now than ever.
Was there a sense of, I wonder, like when you made that decision, was there a sense when you put your head in the pillow that night of like almost relief? Like I was able to say goodbye to it and now let's move on to the next thing?
Yeah, you definitely hit the nail on the head. The night that I told our members, to be honest, a week early or 6 days before anyone else knew, my team and my members. And driving home that night, Kenny actually was really sweet and kept asking if he needed to drive or if there was anything he could do to help me. Because even though we work together, we also live together. And it hurt. Like, I just had tears streaming down my face the entire drive home, because while there's such relief, there is such sadness. And I don't feel as much anger at this point, or frustration. That has definitely somewhat lifted a little bit. And I definitely have more positivity, more excitement, because I have a new home. Until recently, I was terrified. It wasn't until 2 days ago that we knew we had a new home. So before that, I was, terrified I was going to have to just do everything virtually, and that's not me. So yeah, there's relief and there's still sadness. Yeah. As I try not to tear up right now. I'm going to drink more coffee.
I'll do it with you. Erin Madore joining us. So let's talk about the fun stuff. So you're making this new chapter change here. You're turning the page. Do you remember, is a lot of this stuff just like it was starting your own business? Is this like trying to recruit the people? And I can imagine it's a lot of those same processes you're going through. What's it like here starting again?
It's so many emotions, honestly. No, it's good. In some ways, the best part is having Kenny and Stephanie as business partners. I didn't have that in the past. I had a wonderful team. Izzy in particular was incredible. She's my a 7 Hill Fitness Studio assistant manager.
Why don't you give last names for them so everybody knows them?
Thank you so much. Kenny Long, and then Stephanie Moraz and Isabel Ortigoza. And now having 2 other owners that are equally invested, that are equal partners, it definitely feels very different in that sense. Like, the 3 of us work really well together. We delegate, we take things on, we help each other make better decisions. And these were things that I handled pretty much on my own in the past. So while I definitely feel like we're in a better place because I've had that experience, we're also in a better place because we have each other. And I've learned so much over the last 3 years, 4 years, because honestly, opening 7 Hill Fitness Studio took about 3 years. So I will say I'm a little frustrated that we have to do this again. But at the same time, I will say things seem to just be falling into place, and the support has been wonderful. I keep saying no one's yelled at me yet, and I think that's a really good thing. So yeah, we're definitely moving forward. As I said right before we started, there's a lot going on, so that's a lot to kind of handle, but we're ready for it.
I do wonder, because I mean, nobody obviously predicts a pandemic. I mean, this is the story of our lifetime,
Exactly.
And it couldn't, I mean, your timing couldn't, let's just be honest, it couldn't have been worse for opening a business. But I know, I'm glad I could make you laugh with that a little bit. But when you think about it, you got that experience and you made a good run and had something successful going. Would you, when this is all said and done on the other side of this, would you recommend the young, the young Erin back in college, if you had to speak to her, would you say, go for it, do it again?
Hell yes, 1,000%. I love owning a business, and I think this is like part of who I am. It's part of my DNA. I can't imagine doing anything else except for maybe writing books, which is something that I've actually started working on as well. So yeah, and I would honestly encourage anyone that's out there. I think one of the best two things that I think is going to come from this year and the pandemic and the hard struggles we've all faced is that there's more connection in some ways, even though we've had to be isolated to some degree. I mean, it's so nice. Like this moment right now, this is freaking awesome. And I think the other thing is innovation. And I think that if someone out there is listening and you have a good idea for something, you have a good business idea, a good service product, I say go for it. And I think if anything, losing Savin Hill Fitness Studio has taught me that you never lose anything that you create with love and passion and hard work. It's always part of you. It just might look different. It might feel different, and that's okay. So, yeah.
Very cool. Erin Madore, again, joining us final few minutes here. I do want to ask, I'm always curious about this. My wife enjoys the yoga. You're a yoga teacher, and I mean, your studio offered other stuff, but I know you're big on the yoga. What is it about it that changed your, how did yoga change your life? Like, I'm always curious about those stories. I do get it. I get why it works. I just have.
Do you practice yoga?
No.
You should.
My wife, I've seen my wife do it, and it's like I do understand why it helps so many people, but I do not personally. What should I?
Yes, I mean, I always tell people I never suggest anyone does anything they don't like doing unless it's doctor prescribed. If your thing is running or walking or dancing, dance, run, or walk. But there's a special connection that is created when you practice yoga between your breath, your mind, and your body. And it really is meditation and movement. And while that can be really scary at the beginning, I have to say our form of yoga and my form of yoga is much more casual and fun. My classes are never silent. We don't do a lot of chanting or anything, which is wonderful, just not my thing. But yoga honestly taught me that it's okay to slow down, that it's okay to be quiet externally and internally, and that there's a lot of strength there. And it taught me that I'm always there for myself. Like, you're never truly alone. You always have yourself. And I think that's why yoga in particular is really special. I think it's hard to get some of those aspects through a boot camp class or running. But if those are your things, then it's almost like your own form of yoga. But I definitely do yoga at least a couple of times.
She's tried to get me to do it too. Maybe I'll go for it at some
Smart
point.
Woman.
It's funny. I was actually just thinking an old musician friend. He's not old or an old friend. He's just a musician friend. But a guy named EJ. So I was just touching base with him today, and I'm just randomly remembering right now as we speak. He once told me something that stuck with me. He goes, "The best part of my day is that I begin it with yoga every single morning. It's when I'm at most peace, and after that, I can do anything. I can write anything. I can produce anything. I can play any show." He goes, "It is the best part of my day, and I don't know what I would do without it." It just stuck with me.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the universe is telling you to at least try a little.
Well, that was like a year ago he told me that.
Well, you just remembered. Yeah. I will say, honestly, it doesn't have to be a 60-minute practice either. 5 minutes, 10 minutes of just stretching, breathing. I think we all take for granted our breath and the resource and tool that it truly is. So that'd be my suggestion. Start small.
All right, so let's get the bullet points out there. Erin Madore, where can people sign up if they like you here? And I've realized I want to go train with her. Where do we go? Where's the studio? Give me all the details.
So people can totally check us out, connectingthroughstrength.com and connectedthroughstrength.com. And we're actually launching a GoFundMe. Any and all donations are super appreciated, as it takes a bit of money to open a new fitness studio. And yeah, connectedthroughstrength.com is where they can connect with me, Erin Madore, Kenny Long, and Stephanie Moraz.
And where do these people end up? Where's the actual studio going to be?
Oh, and we're in Dorchester, Savin Hill to be specific.
And
super close to the train station, public parking, and we also have virtual. So we have virtual fitness classes, personal training, nutrition, and all that.
and that maybe opens you up to people outside of that area for now, right?
Exactly.
All right, very cool. I usually end this show by trying to meet the person a little bit. I know you more than anybody listening does, so let's do a little rapid fire. Are you game for it? You have to say the first thing that comes to your mind.
I like it.
Okay. Favorite musician?
Beyonce.
Good one. Favorite movie?
Ooh, Empire Records.
Okay. Favorite sport?
Ooh, Lord. I guess football.
Football. Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite city that's not Boston?
Oh, that's easy. Paris.
Paris. Oh, you've been to Paris? Good for you. What did you like about Paris?
It's magic. It's history. Like, I twirled down the streets of Paris. It was just beautiful, especially if you love history and reading.
Do you know, when I heard the P, I actually thought you were going to say Providence. I was going to say, I agree. Yeah.
I was going to, closest local city, definitely. I love Providence.
Providence is fun. What is the best career advice you ever got for all the kids out there?
It's so cliche. Oh, God, but I'm going to say it. Actually, be yourself.
Yeah.
Don't be a school bag. Don't try to be someone else. Like, don't try to impress others. Be authentic.
Very good. And 2020, if you had to sum it up in briefly, I'm sure you could write one of those books on this, but how would you sum up 2020 for you?
The first words that came to mind were support and community, but I also had in the back of my mind a quiet voice saying dumpster fire. So I would say it's a beautiful combination of all of that.
I understand that. Well, Erin, we wish you all the best. I know it's been a crazy run here over the past however many months. Hopefully, we get out of this soon. I'm sure you're having to do a lot of the same stuff you were doing at the old studio here as you prepare, as far as pandemic cleanliness and all that. That must be like just extra work, right? All that stuff.
It's funny. I actually love cleaning, and and everyone immediately upon us reopening, they told me they felt so comfortable coming back because our space was always so clean, bright, airy. They would always see me running around cleaning. So yeah, it doesn't honestly bother me. I think those were my standards before COVID, but finding and buying Lysol is the other hard thing. If anyone wants to send me Lysol, connect it through strength.com. I'll take it.
Along with the GoFundMe, we're also accepting Lysol. Yes, that's right.
Exactly.
And actually, you just triggered my memory on one thing there too, when you were talking about the, what was I going to say? Damn. I was thinking, no, not the cleaning. It was going to be good. I'll text you. Well, it's good to see you though, Erin. It's this has been fun. I know I've been following your story, like I said, online, and I think that's what makes you so appealing, is that you love the job so much, and you can tell you put everything into it. And I know those are just heartbreaking stories, but I love how you're turning it into a good one here, and I wish you the best of luck with the new venture.
Thank you so much. This was wonderful and actually a lot of fun and really good to reconnect with you. So thank you.
All right, Erin, we'll see you soon. All right, Erin Madore, an old college friend there. I had not talked to her in a long while, so it was good to catch up with her, as mentioned. And obviously, I hope you got a good idea. I mean, I know a lot of you know how hard it is on these businesses, but I don't think you can ever hear enough of those stories of the people that have put their heart and soul into these things. And it's a tough time. And as you could see, it wasn't easy saying goodbye to her business, but on to the next one. And I love that question about, would you do it again? Would you start your own business again? And I think she said, hell yes was the answer. So I don't know. I thought that was a nice direction to go in, and good advice post-pandemic. It is an admirable thing, starting your own business. So best of luck to Erin Madore in her new venture. Go check her out. She gave you all the information in there, and seems like a fun trainer. Maybe I'll try the yoga here at some point. All right. Have a good weekend, everybody. My name is Drew Moholland, live at Drew's house. Thanks again for all the support. Stay safe out there. All right. Bye-bye now.